I know we talked about magnesium helping with the alkalinity because it is an alkaline-based metal, so we got the correlation there. Now, something I want to touch on, Kalkwasser reportedly, and you can test, will lower your mag if you're dripping calc regular. You'll get a lower magnesium reading. And it's an accurate reading. It's not misrepresented. It's an accurate reading. So I know there was a few hands that went up that did out or calc. So just watch it. If you're dripping calc, really watch that mag because it will alternately it'll affect it. So we're gonna magnesium levels too now. Magnesium levels affect microalgae in a big way. Some of us have filamentous algae problems. We have, green on the glass daily or brown on the glass daily. And a lot of times it's, low magnesium levels could ultimately be phosphates too, but just one of the variables is low magnesium. And I see some people going, yeah, that's us. So mag levels are going to be very helpful in keeping your microalgae, nuisance microalgae, from growing. Magnesium also, levels of magnesium to help actually fight off nuisance microalgae can go up to about 1600 slowly. If you get them up to about 1600, Reef Central has a great thread on it about how it affects the photosynthetic process and how, because ultimately affecting alkalinity affects pH, affected by photosynthesis, so forth and so on, the algal growths occur. So the higher the mag, the more balanced and the more productive your good microalgae are going to be, and the less productive your bad microalgae like filamentous algae, turf algae. Some of us are battling the red turf and stuff like that. So let's not overlook magnesium. Let's not overlook calcium, alkalinity levels, pH levels. All the buffering levels need to be balanced. We know where they should be. We know what the ocean is. We know where we should keep our tanks. That's all the majors. We got all that. The minors, strontium. Actually, strontium is a major. You can go either way. Molybdenum is definitely a minor, and that's on this one. I highlighted a couple things. We'll go over this right here, kind of verbatim. Strontium and molybdenum. Obviously, two different additives, two different supplements, but you can get them mixed together in the same bottle. Even you've seen they can't. Strontium, molybdenum. You're going to see that one mixed pretty regular. It's fine. The levels in seawater are so low. What are we at? 8 ppm for strontium and 0.01 ppm molybdenum. Not so important, but still want to keep those levels up. So if you're not doing regular water changes, you're not getting it. You probably will get it if you're using a good salt without having to supplement. If you're not using a better salt that has higher levels, you're still going to need to supplement that one as well. But we want to shoot for kind of the same ranges. That one we're not really going to alter any in a closed system, so we want to keep that one right about where sea level's at if you can. The strontium helps the growth of calcareous algae and growth of symbiotic algae. Now, calcareous algae that contains calcium carbonate. Symbiotic algae is plant cells within coral tissue. So we've got two different algae here, both affected by the strontium and the molybdenum. I'm going to touch a little more on the algae, which ultimately are zooxanthellae. So next we'll go to iodine and iodide. Some of us do iodine. Wouldn't really recommend the lesser concentrated liquids like the big bottles, that you're doing milliliters of and capfuls of. I would rather go towards, really, if you're going to do it, that's the one, the Tropic Moran Lugol solution. This is the one. 1 drop per 25, I think. Even you can cut it in half and go 1 drop per 50. This is comes out in your skimmer and is quickly consumed by the reef. So this is one that's going to be skimmed out pretty easily. If you're overdosing it, though, you can saturate the system, can cause breakdown into iodate and iodote, ultimately causing problems with your coral growth and retardation. So we want to be real careful with iodine. I know some of us live by it, some of us kind of curse at it. It's really how you're dosing it and what you're using to dose. If you're going to do iodine, and it is important, it helps with molting of your ornamental shrimp. Everybody knows that. You dose iodine, the next day there's shrimp shells everywhere. It's almost inevitable. They do it almost every time. If you haven't dosed regularly. If you're dosing regularly, they have a natural molting process that's not inhibited, and the iodine's there, it's present, it's available, they molt with no problem. If you see in your aquarium an ornamental shrimp that has died trying to molt, and it's stuck in its shell and it's died, it's because there wasn't enough iodine. So some of us may have seen that. Some of you may not be seeing molts at all, or very few. In the wild, these guys, they molt all the time. I mean, they're constantly growing. It's an exoskeleton that they have to shed. It's just like us. We shed skin cells. They shed an exoskeleton. Kind of similar, but you get what I'm saying. Very, very important. So if you've seen that, iodine levels are low. If you're seeing regular sheds and regular molts, iodine levels are they're there. They're where they need to be. They're sufficient. If you're not dosing, I would recommend dosing in the beginning, half dose. Cut it back some. Get the system used to it. Get the animals used to it. The corals used to it, and then maybe up your dose. But still continue your skimming. Still continue your water changes, just like regular. Iodide is like a refined iodine. You read on the iodide. So hand me that iodide bottle real quick. Right there, reef iodide. Yeah, the yellow, that one. I don't know how much truth there is to this, and I'm sure some of you may know more on it than I do. Reef iodide is a concentrated, stabilized potassium iodide source for reef aquarium that restore and maintain iodide levels to those found in natural seawater. It's formulated to provide a safe source of iodide that will not convert to toxic-free iodine under storage or reef conditions. I haven't done a whole lot of digging on this yet. To me, this is saying iodine's toxic, and that iodide is a non-toxic derivative of, not quite sure about that. And it goes on to say iodine is as toxic as chlorine and should never be used in a reef system. Kind of a catch-22 there, because I dose iodine pretty regular. I do my drops per day in the systems. I don't see any ulterior, any bad effects of it. Anybody know anything iodide?
I
Use iodide as well? Are you doing both? This is iodide?
No.
See,
no,
that's
iodine.
yeah. I mean, one of the sales rep came in. CChem sales rep came in. He was kind of bashing iodine. Showed me this. I went over it. I haven't really got too much into it. Don't want to confuse you guys more than I am. Patrick, anything? Iodide?
Well, iodine is an antibacterial. In fact, we use it in surgery.
Exactly.
Like you see, like providine solution, that kind of stuff. There's different forms of it that you can add. Iodine is more safe because it's got three. It's basically iodine plus 3 instead of
Yeah.
iodine plus 2.
I know we were
Iodine plus
talking
2
about that.
Can be toxic if it gets too high. So you dose the iodine and you allow the natural processes to slowly break it down, and hopefully that will slow the iodine that's getting used. The best, most bioavailable that you're going to get is going to be potassium iodide, which is what the Lugol is.
Yep. That's why.
Lugol is potassium iodide. It's going to be the most bioavailable. It's very safe to dose as long as you dose it that way. If you were to pull that reef iodide,
That's what.
the concentration of what it is and what you have to dose compared to that Lugol solution, you're adding 1 drop to 25 gallons, whereas there you're going to be adding like a capful.
Yeah, 5 to 10 mil
Yeah.
per 10 gallons or something.
So-
That's why I was recommending definitely go with the concentrated stuff. I mean, I probably won't even carry any of the other iodines once they're gone, because some people still prefer them. But if you're going to dose iodine, I do recommend doing it. I don't know, there's controversy over this. You guys can kind of dive into that and maybe throw it up on the board or something and see what we found over the next couple weeks or something. But you're going to need the iodine for the reasons stated before. And some of you, I think some of you saw these effects of the shrimp not molting or not as often as they should be, so forth and so on. So you're going to want to do it if you're not doing it. Testing iodine, that's the difficult part. Man, if you are even a little bit colorblind, or if you have any other spectrums of